Right, good evening from Berlin, and I do apologise for the unshaven look. Just one of those things I haven't got round to shaving the last couple of days. However, it's time to carry on with talking about Asperger's, and we got to point number 5 out of sort of 27, 28. Believe me, the last sort of 10 points are literally single sentences, so this shouldn't take more than 1-2 videos. I have got a timer running to make sure I get this down into 20-minute segments so it's not so boring to watch. So, moving on from where we left off last time, communication, point number 5. Right, now remember that this does actually is reference to both a male and female. However, if you remember, the document was written for females or about females. So if I say her, I do mean him, her. So anyway, communications. Difficulties communicating his, her thoughts and feelings in words to others, especially if anxious, stressed or upset. Often can type or write her thoughts much better. Now that's not me, I have come across that. May dislike asking others for help, being unable to ask or not knowing how to ask for help. Now, yes, that does apply to me. I think I gave an example of that on the last video when I was at a school job before, and I didn't know how to assert myself and actually ask for help. May be passive, not know how to assert her boundaries in a healthy manner. May offend others by saying what she, he is thinking, even if she, he does not mean to. Many appear aggressive or too intense. Yes, I can be a little bit like that. I speak before I think. That's for sure. May point out other people's mistakes. Yes, I'm definitely guilty of that. May give too much detail and end up boring others unintentionally. I try my hardest not to do that because I know someone else in my life, in the family, that actually has an ability to do that. So I'm always aware of not doing that. And if I suddenly find that I am rattling on for too long, I generally try and sort of tie up very quickly out of sort of self-conscious embarrassment that I might be basically boring people. So. Like I possibly could be boring you now with all these videos. I don't know. If you don't like it, don't watch. It's as simple as that. May ask embarrassing questions, usually when younger. Don't know, can't remember. Unusual voice, flat, monotone, high-pitched or childlike. Yes, I've come across that. In my experience, very monotone. Doesn't matter what the feelings are, it's just one level. So, quite difficult to read someone. The tendency to take things literally, missing what people are trying to say. Yes, I've come across that. May talk too loudly or too softly, often unaware that he, she is doing so. Yes, I've come across that, and I also myself definitely talk too loudly. My brother does as well. I think it's a bit of a family trait, that one. May talk too much or not enough. Depending on what you're talking about, I don't think you can talk too much. If it's a personal issue between two people or a group, then I don't think you can talk too much. I think a good discussion is a good discussion. If it's personal issues, then they need to be addressed. However, in my experience, someone with Asperger's generally can't talk enough or at all, which is one of the frustrating points, to be honest with you. Often surprised when people tell her she has been rude or inappropriate. Yep, well, I've said all along, way back in the video in Chamonix, that some people do find others like that, and not to be judgmental about that, because they don't know, they don't intend to be rude or inappropriate. I know when I'm being inappropriate now. I am quite inappropriate at times. I don't have that switch, but as I've got older, I'm more aware of it. So, poor pragmatic language skills. That can also include body language. Pragmatic language skills. Yeah, it can also include body language. Yes, I agree with that. I don't know if I suffer or come across as having poor pragmatic or body language skills. I like to think I don't, but I definitely seen other people that have they just look lost. If you don't take the initiative and speak or advise or say something, it's like looking at a rabbit in the headlights. You know, they just freeze, don't know what to do because they don't understand body language or cues. You know, social and verbal cues. Struggle with eye contact and listening to someone at the same time. Yes, I've seen that. I don't suffer it with myself. I can look someone straight in the eye, always have or always will. I've seen people with Asperger's that literally just like this and can't look, and then I've seen someone else who, when it's not talking about personal issues, no problem, can look in the eye, hold attention, no problem at all. But as soon as it becomes talking about something of a personal nature, like their problems in their life, their issues, no, they cannot look in the eyes. May have auditory processing issues. Well, an auditory processing issue is basically a brain to ear coordination problem. That's generally in kids. Struggles to understand non-verbal communication cues. That's like I was just saying above about poor pragmatic language skills. Understanding non-verbal communication cues. It's like looking at a rabbit in the headlights. Offer overshares inappropriate ways. Offer overshares in inappropriate ways. Not understanding the steps to friendship or relationships. I'm very open, so I suppose I could share inappropriately. I suppose, I probably did with Dear Verity. She was probably quite shocked at how much I shared, but at least I'm open and honest, so people know where they stand with me. Number 6, physiology and neurology. Highly sensitive. Highly sensitive may not be able to listen to or watch the news, listen to the radio, read the newspaper, watch violent shows, movies or horror movies, see hurt or injured animals, abuse, war, trauma, are sensitive to the emotions and emotional atmosphere of the environment, experience referred emotion and psychic sixth sense abilities. May have strong intuitive and or psychic abilities. Pass, I don't know. B, sensory processing disorder condition. May have sensory sensitivities in the following areas: hearing, vision, taste, touch, smell, balance, movement and intuition. Now, I do have sensitive sensory, hearing, vision, some taste, and some touch. I'm quite highly sensitive to a lot of things there. May be very sensitive to pain or have a high pain threshold. I have definitely got a high pain threshold. Bit like going with a broken arm for 72 hours from the south of France to South End Hospital. It's like 700 miles and having 2 nights sleep in between with a completely wrist. South End Hospital, running around with the X-rays, couldn't believe that I endured that basically. So yes, I have a high pain threshold. May notice how food tastes or feels, and one may be more important than the other. Yep, totally agree with that. It's not so much a taste, it's a feel thing. I've also come across that with someone actually, funnily enough. It's hard to get your head round that someone doesn't like, not sure which way round it is now. Someone doesn't like pasta, but they don't mind spaghetti, for instance. The two are the same, but actually the feel in your mouth would be different, you see. So that gives you an example of where that might come in. May be clumsy or uncoordinated. That's me. I'm always bumping into the door frame when I walk through a door, for instance. May dislike loud noises and or be overwhelmed or stressed by bright lights, strong smells, coarse textures, clothing, sirens close by or people too close behind them. Right, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll actually grab some screenshots off my phone in a little while, and I'll actually stick them with what I'm talking about now. But just as an example, I do suffer this because I was in the shopping centre, a bit like Lakeside in Berlin, a little while ago, and the bright lights and all the people around me, I just find it unbearable, absolutely unbearable. Not so much the strong smells, coarse textures, clothing, sirens. Yep, it makes me do-dally. I don't just mean makes me mad. It really puts me on edge. And people close behind me. If I feel someone too close behind me, if I'm in a queue, I might actually ask someone to stop invading my personal space. But generally speaking, if I feel like someone's walking too close behind me, I'll actually pull to one side and let them go past and then carry on walking. I can't stand it. So. Yeah, in the past, people seeing this that have always thought I was a bit funny about shopping centres and going shopping. They are the reasons why, okay? And it's only researching this that I've sort of come to light and I've realised my issue with. It's not an issue with shopping. It's an issue with how bright and how noisy, and I just find it an overwhelming experience. May find children hard to cope with due to crying, screaming, or other loud noises. Yes, I could relate to that. However, since having my own child and getting older, it's one of those things that when it's yours, you just deal with it. When it's yours, when the child is yours, you just deal with it. However, I've seen people that basically, oh my God, it's making a noise. I love them to bits, but it's now making a noise. Rescue me. So. May not be able to tolerate sounds, light, smells, textures, a movement that she dislikes. Yep, as mentioned above. May not like to be hugged, cuddled or held. I only like to hug if it's my decision. Now, that's something I now understand. I don't really have an issue with that myself, but it's something I now understand, and it's something I didn't understand, and I wish I'd understood it a long time ago. I find cuddling great, I don't get enough cuddles. I can't think of the last. Well, I can think of the last time I had a cuddle actually. Yes, I can. However, yeah, it was quite upsetting not to have a cuddle for a very long time. Can get upset or distressed if unable to follow a familiar route when going somewhere. No. Things that should be painful may not be. Bruises, but not know how they got them due to clumsiness. Me. In social situations, the nervous system tends to be overwhelmed easily, leading to withdrawal, e.g. wander off to a quiet spot at a party, play with children or animals. Yep, totally relate to that. Strong hunger may disrupt her mood and or the ability to focus. No, not really. I have a tendency to be able to ignore hunger and then suddenly realise I'm starting to feel sick. She may notice and enjoy delicate or fine scents, tastes, sounds, works of art and pieces of music. I think to a certain degree everyone sort of, can find, how was that termed? Enjoy delicate. I'm sure a lot of people find that they enjoy certain musics and arts and things, so I'm really not going to comment on that. Next, C, anxiety, stress and or anger. Recent brain scanning research points towards the enlarged, now here's a big word, amygdala. Yes, amygdala. The enlarged amygdala's role in intense emotional anxiety and anger. So there you go, is a fact for you that I didn't know. May have auditory processing issues. Auditory processing issues. It's an optical processing disorder. where the brain can't process what it sees. Basically, it's a neurological disorder. May grind teeth or have locked jaw. Anxiety. I have a tendency to clench my jaw, and I don't know why. I suddenly find I'm doing it. I think I do it a lot when I'm worried about epilepsy, and I'm anxious about epilepsy. So yeah, may grind teeth or have locked jaw, in brackets, anxiety. May have obsessive compulsive disorder traits, OCD. Yep, me. May have one or more of the 7 types of ADHD. Now, I will put the link up for this because realistically ADHD is a completely separate subject. But I read the 7 types of ADHD, and in someone I know that's got Asperger's, there are some things that relate to 1 or 2 of the 7 types of ADHD, which is why I stress how important it is that you shouldn't just continually throughout your life self-diagnose, and go and seek some help, because it will help you understand yourself better, and then you will enjoy life a lot more. Usually has executive function difficulties, i.e. time management, plan, head organisation. Yep, me. May rock, leg bounce, fidget or other movements with hands, twirl hair, stroke soft fabric to self-soothe, doodle or draw. Yes, if I'm anxious, I do tend to fidget with my hands, and I do doodle and draw, whether that's a form of Asperger's or a trait of Asperger's. I'm just letting you know that, yeah, I do that. I'm sure a lot of people doodle and draw. But yeah, I do have a tendency to play with my fingers when I'm stressed or trying to think of not things to say, but in a personal conversation. I'm sure it's a stress movement. May be very sensitive to medications, caffeine and or alcohol. Me. May have gluten, wheat, casein or other food allergies, intolerances and gut issues. Pass. May have sleep difficulties, a preference to staying up late at night, usually not a morning person, but may be very creative at night. Well, I'm not so sure about the creative bit, but yes, I can definitely have sleep difficulties. As much as I don't like to think I'm a late night person, because it just makes me feel like shit. Yeah, because I have sleep difficulties, it's so easier to stay up. One night it's 12 o'clock, the next night it's 1 o'clock, the next night it's 2 o'clock, and the next thing you know, you're going to bed later and later and later, in which case has an effect with the time you are and what you are like in the morning, especially if you've still got to go up at the usual time. May have dyspraxia, which is a condition of coordination of the movement between the movement and your coordination. It's a brain issue, it's a neurological issue, and it's more seen in children. So yeah, coordination and movement. May have tics, for example, clearing the throat, coughing, stuff like that. Yeah, I clear my throat and my brother does as well, funnily enough, as a, if you like a tic. It's not no real need to do it. I just do it. So physical appearance, number 7, usually dresses differently from his peers, often eccentric, may dress more for comfort than appearance. Yeah, I've seen that. May dress over the top or unusually for occasions. Well, I'm not going to start talking about mankinis, but no, not as far as I know. May try very hard to fit in appearance-wise, or may not care at all. Yes, I've seen that. May have special interest in fashion or femininity. Nope, not me. Or masculinity. Nope, not me. May not shower or upkeep hygiene at times due to different priorities, usually being involved in special interests. Looks younger than her years. Yes, I've seen that. I can't really say I look younger than my years, because I've screwed my life from smoking late nights and drugs and God knows what. So yeah, long time ago. Oh, that's me 20 minutes up. Cancel that. Right, so last things. May look younger than his. Has an unusual voice, may be childlike, monotone, loud or soft quality to her voice. We've already said. Yes, I've come across monotone and soft before in someone, and I myself am loud. However, not necessarily monotone. Often does certain things with hands, twirling hair items, different movements, leg bouncing, rocking while standing. Yes, I leg bounce, I move my fingers as already mentioned. So, there you go, that brings us to number 8, which is actually about 2/3 of the way through the document. So, we'll pick this up on the next part.